Yes, first item there was a request of the mayor to put the discussion of the newsletter survey results of where does council want to move forward here now that this is completed. So the issue is a discussion amongst council, and if there's any direction that you would like to give staff, I'm all ears.
I have some things on the history. I believe that council has had a history of defensiveness towards any opposing views, and that defensiveness has not stopped with the censorship of the Mayor's Monthly. I have three more statements. Citizen involvement in Damascus may be irreparable as a result of longstanding rejections of those with different ideas. The vast majority of citizens, at least the ones that I've talked to, who at one time were engaged in issues relating to Damascus, have long since given up. The learned skill of validating the individual does not appear to be something that we have yet mastered as a council. And it's with those are my thoughts surrounding the original censorship of the newsletter, especially on question number 6 that we'd previously referred to. Does the public want to hear from a special Mayor's Monthly, special column by the mayor? My encouragement is for council to allow the Mayor's Monthly. It matters the slightest to me whether a counselor, whatever a counselor writes in the city newsletter. I have no qualms about that. I believe that they have the freedom to write what they want to write. I also believe that the mayor ought to be able to write in the Mayor's Monthly what he wants to write within reason, not inflammatory. A disagreement should be allowed. Inflammatory statements should not be allowed. The general census of building or the general understanding of building and try to, with the attempt to cooperate with the overall good of the community, of course. And I also believe that the political discussions and opinions that's an obvious ethics violation. So what I'd like to see the reinstatement of the Mayor's Monthly.
Do we have any public testimony on this?
Yes, we do. Tyler Church.
Tyler Church, 21951 Southeast Bona Park Road. And I believe a lot of the issues about this topic have already been brought up, but I just kind of thought of one new piece of information that maybe the council should consider in this. So this is about how people pick their elected representatives. And in political science, there's a theory that kind of, there's one theory about how people do it, and it's this Q theory, where people look at certain cues to decide how they should pick their elected representatives. The most well-known and most popular one has been political party. That person's a Republican, that person's a Democrat. I will support them for elected office. But the problem is with Damascus is that we are nonpartisan. And so with that way, people have to dig in and do more research to figure out who they should pick that represents their preferences. And unfortunately, that's not always easy, considering that this is just a small city where you can't just type in Randy, Shannon, Diane Helm, Ledbury, and just see a wide list of information about them. You only have what's in the voter pamphlet. And so with the city news, by letting councilors and the mayor write, would kind of alleviate this problem and also open it to a more mass audience, to people that don't have time to do all the deep research to see each candidate. They can just instead read their opinions in the city news and learn about the candidates that way. That way we'll actually have a city where people will know who they're voting for and know more about their candidates, so that we can actually have a council that directly represents the citizens better. And that's why I would support not only bringing back the Mayor's Monthly, but also support bringing it for all councilors to freely write. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Fagley.
Dan Fegley of 21610 Southeast Little Lane. I'd like to point out that in December of 2010, again, this council mandated a plan upon the people of Damascus costing in excess of $3 billion. You, at the time, congratulated yourselves at accommodating citizens while pointing to staff awards as proof of your stand. Only the mayor-elect sounded words of warning. These words didn't play well with your celebrating and self-congratulating, so it was only fitting to again silence any that dare voice a divergent view. So you took away his monthly communication with the citizenry. Now, only staff can make comments to our citizens. This was in an effort to protect our citizens. In May, the citizens voted overwhelmingly, rejecting the arrogance and expense of your imposed plan. Their vote also vindicated our mayor's position. Even a facilitator could not help, as your entrenchment and vindictiveness were directed at a dissenting mayor and the voting public. Our Committee for Citizen Involvement is stacked with members of the election committee supporting your election and your plan. Even the report was done by your very head of your election committee and the head of the election committee trying to put the plan, pass your plan. They came up with an after-the-fact citizen survey. This survey, by design, could accommodate unlimited votes from those who were aware of how to exploit it. But again, you didn't win. The appearance that you are trying to silence the majority is pervasive in Damascus, and vindictiveness is really showing. Let the people have their mayor back. Thank you.
William Werr.
My name is William Ware, 14754 Southeast Wyest Avenue, Damascus. On April 14th of this year, the council voted to censor the mayor by removing his column from the city newsletter. The rationale given was that the mayor was using the format and city staff for campaigning. There was a complaint filed against the mayor with the state of Oregon. The ethics department ruled that there was no breach of ethics by the mayor regarding the publication of the information that the mayor gave. Yet there was not an apology forward to the mayor or a reinstatement of the column at that time. That would have been an excellent time for you as a council to work at healing and jumping to conclusions. One could only conclude that the purpose of the mayor losing his column was to marginalize him. For those of you that voted to remove his column, don't you think an apology is in order now to him and to the citizens of Damascus? The mayor needs his column back.
May I comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm not sure the exact wording of the State Ethics Commission, but I suspect it was along the lines of they declined to prosecute or anything. It's not that they vindicated or said there was not a violation, but they were not going to prosecute. Let me talk. I'm sorry. You may disagree with me.
Excuse
Even
me.
if the mayor-
Let me just, how can you suspect something when you have not read it?
That's put it this way, that's typically how these things work on a prosecutor has discretion with what he charges. Even if they did not prosecute this, you violated the spirit of the law in using city resources to advocate, and that's what the council reacted to. So when we reinstitute council, and because I suspect we will, council and mayor's communications, one of the things I think we need to do is when we have signatures that have been submitted for a petition or a recall or whatever, an initiative measure, or when we have somebody that's filed as a candidate, that we discontinue these columns until after the election. So we don't have that accusation or question of using it. Because otherwise, we'll be back in the same place.
Are there any other counselors that have a comment?
Well, we've had this discussion before. I mean, you've heard me comment that I'm not opposed to letting you have an article in there. We determined that we wanted to go to CCI and let them have a discussion and turn it over to CCI. Remember that discussion we've had? So that's what we all agreed to do. So we did turn it over to CCI. And I think that right now we need to have again, I'm not opposed of allowing you to go ahead and have articles. That's my personal opinion. I just think that, for example, we were also censored too. We said that we're not going to be allowed to write articles in there too, and we just going to put factual information.
I just wanted the one thing, you can go ahead, but you said that you were censored. Well, I'm not concerned that you censored yourself. That's fine by me. My concern is that I was censored.
Understandable. But I still think that we've got a CCI, Citizens for Community Involvement. Let them work out how we can allow articles to be reinstated in the city news, and I think that's what we should do. And again, allowing you the opportunity to do that. I mean, that's why we've got the committees. That's why they're there.
I know all of you. I'm the bad person here because I was the one that made the suggestion at the April meeting, and just to take the newsletter out entirely until we could have a really good discussion about it. And I think the CCI did have a really good discussion about it. I will admit I was really concerned, and I still have some concern that what I think all of us have a responsibility as elected officials to give you our opinion. We're all entitled to our opinion, and that's why you elected Mr. Spinett, and I applaud you for that. But also to respect differing opinions, and we need to learn to do that as well. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Please allow me to finish, okay? Also, what my biggest concern is that the information that we put in print and put out in front of the citizen is taken as fact. So we have to be very careful that what we put out there is true. And it's information, because once it's in print, you take it as fact. People out in the community take it as fact. So it's our responsibility. I have to tell you, I have not always liked what Randy's printed or what Marlo's printed or other people have printed. We have a responsibility to put out true and good information. And as you said, the more information you have, the better you can make a decision out there in the community. So I will be the first. I apologize for making that motion, although it was approved, it was voted on by council. I know that's what you're looking from me, and I at the time,